And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this Sunday night NFBC Online Championship extravaganza. It's a RotoWire OC. This is the FTN network. We're doing an NFBC live stream of Beat Me. It's my second OC. And with me, as always, as usual, my podcast partner in crime, Jason Anthony. Jason, what's going on, man?
What up, Vlad? Excited to watch you draft. We'll call it the Master at Work. And, I don't want to waste much airtime and get to our very special co-host today. I'll let you do the honors of introducing him since it's the Beat Vlad League.
Yeah, very honored to have a good friend, a wonderful gentleman, and also one heck of a fantasy baseball player at the high-stakes level, going on 2 decades. And everybody knows him. He's a Hall of Famer in the NFBC, and he's going to be doing some commentating here for us. John Pausma. Hey, John.
Hey, Vlad. Hey, Jason. Thanks for having me on. This should be fun.
Yeah. About halfway through, Jason has got some family commitments. We're going to have the very popular live stream commentator, Corked Wood. Brandon is going to be back, and he'll take the back half of Jason's work today.
So with the 3 of you, Vlad, with Corked Wood, with John, with yourself, I mean, that's 3 of the top 4 OC players that I know in the industry. So that's going to be a lot of fun for the live stream. And then, I'll chip in where some funny commentary where I can.
Who's the 4th?
I think I throw the Guilds up there.
Guilds,
yeah. I mean, with his success, not that he needs to hear it because he's not the most humble guy, but he earned every aspect of that. But Andrew, you are the man in the OCs.
Yes, indeed, Andrew Geller. So yeah, we're gonna get started here. Letting you know, I'm picking 10th today. We'll pull up the draft board. I'm gonna get this thing onto the stage, and we'll adjust it as we go, as it gets bigger. I'm gonna try to do a little bit less talking, more concentrating. So no, it's an OC. It's taking it pretty seriously. For those who aren't familiar with the format, it is a 12-team Roto league. It pays $1,400 for the first place and $700 for second. There is an overall prize component, usually around $2,500 or so overall contestants in this thing, and a couple hundred leagues. And with that, there's a grand prize of $150,000. John, you are an OC winner. Is it more than once?
No,
overall?
Once in the OC. Yep. So definitely playing for the overall. It's kind of you play to win your league, but you're also having the overall in mind in these drafts. And typically, you'll see a little bit more aggressive drafting in these 12-teamers. And I'll be looking forward to seeing exactly which strategy these teams use tonight.
Really disappointing, John. You've only won it once. So, I just, went down a peg in my book. Only one time overall OC champ.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, this will be fun. Guys, I've been out and about. I'm not up to date on things happening. Have there been any major injuries or anything I need to be aware of today?
We'll highlight that after you pick the guy, but no, nothing too big, I don't think. A couple guys sent down, minors, right? It's that time, but no, I don't think nothing that'll affect this right now. I don't think.
Vlad, how much at all do you think the main event ADP coming out and being public now will affect the OC drafts?
So the main event is definitely going to have an influence all around, altogether. Funny enough, I was on a show, Fantasy Pros. Joe Rico was hosting, and Rob Silver and I were doing ADP battles, and he was saying how wouldn't be surprised if you see Christopher Sanchez get pushed up to the end of the first round, and lo and behold, Rob was in that first main event, and he took Christopher Sanchez there towards the end of the first round. I think 12th or 13th overall. So yeah, absolutely, there's an effect to it. People draft how many of the best players draft, right? You look at somebody like Phil and other people in that league, and Dusty, and these players are now players we're going to start to look into more research, and it's a real thing. How does it impact you, John, by the way?
the live stream of the first ones?
No, like the main,
Yeah.
seeing main ADP, like when main ADP changes quickly.
Yeah, I like having ADP, and the more information, the better, I think. Yeah, I think it's great. So, all right, looks like we're off. Team 1, no surprise, Otani.
Let's see if we can get some weird, fun stuff going on for Vlad. So we can have some fun at pick 10. Probably the first, 5, 6 are going to be pretty status quo. And then up pick 7's where we start to have some fun in the OC world.
Yeah, very standard. Very. It's not frequent when you see something other than an Otani Judge Witt. I think you'll probably see some Scooble mixed in there early on. I think people want to make sure he's okay after that next start. Apparently, he wants to make another start. He's just feeling the patriotism and wants to make another start there in the WBC.
Oh, you spoke him into existence.
There it is. I was just going to say it's maybe more likely to see Scooble 4 in a main versus OC, but here he is right now.
John, do you try to get because you do OCs, mains, auctions, so a lot of 12, 15 mixes. Do you try to get your 12s done earlier and then get into 15 team brain, or do you bounce back and forth the draft season?
That's kind of how I do it. I do DCs, OCs, and then mains. Some auctions. I do 1 or 2 full acts, and then of course the live auctions, but mostly in that order.
Yeah, I do not usually enjoy seeing you in my auction room.
All right.
Not that I don't like seeing you.
Thanks.
All right. And we are up here. I'm going to pull up my my VDP rankings for the 12 teamers. I updated them last night live on the site. So here I am picking 10 and keeping 11 in mind. I'm going to look at my board and my options. So I'm going to be here between the shortstops. Boy, do I love Gunnar Henderson, but I think I'm going to go for a little bit of the stolen bases boost, and this may end up being a mistake. But I like Ellie here, and I don't love the offense as much as I do with Baltimore. But I don't think I have any Ellie this year, so this will be my first shot.
All right, you're in the running for K's, just like that.
I was going to ask if you were foreshadowing with Ellie in the background on the live stream before we jumped on, but I didn't want to give away your pick.
I thought the same thing, Jason.
John, do you think Ellie and Gunnar are pretty close, or do you have them a little bit apart?
Yeah, I mean, they're to give you a little bit different thing, but Gunnar seems like the safer pick. For sure, I'd probably take Gunnar in a main event. And OC, I could see Ellie for sure at 10. That's nice. Interestingly, Soto went behind Acuna here today, so that's don't see that too often either.
They're using somebody must be using the old VDP, because I've had Acuna there at 4 for quite some time.
Yeah.
Glad you're back up, and you maybe got a little bit of a gift with the Nick Kurtz pick.
Yeah. All right. Don't typically go pitching here. I got a good shortstop. I'm really only looking at 2 guys here. I mean, listen, Carroll gets me a nice little boost. And then I'm also looking at Crochet. I've got about 20 seconds left. You know what? I am going to go with the pitcher here. I will take Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, that's nice. Ellie Crochet, real nice start there.
I do like it, Vlad. It's so hard to click that pitching button in the OCs, knowing how much pitching you can get and knowing how much hitting you need. But I think it's a gift in Crochet. You can fall in there to a pick 15. I think you take that and run with it.
Yeah, in the last week, I think I've got 19 drafts. The OC, his max was 14, so he definitely fell here today.
As our buddy Scott Jinstead said, the gifts keep coming for Vlad. He is the chosen one.
Did he say that again?
No, but he will. I'm just foreshadowing.
You know, it's actually it hasn't been very gifty the last few years. I remember if I talked about it on the last show, there was just one draft that I had 3 years ago that was just the dream start. It was impossible to screw up, but no, the last few years, it's I'm streaming these, and I'm not really getting mini gifts this year.
That draft you're referring to, I think I was in that league, and we were at the opposite ends of the draft, and I could not believe what you guys were, which was falling into your lap.
Yeah, I think it was the year. It was like Acuna, Ohtani, I forgot someone else really good at 3, and then Crochet in the 4th, something insane.
Oh, there goes the other Vlad.
Yep. And Jason Wanick just popped in the chat, said see you all in Vegas. Looking forward to seeing everyone. So yeah, anybody keep chiming in. Let's have some fun on this draft room.
Yep, come on in, join in. Johnny, John tried to send you a little message. Your mic just a bit staticky. I don't know if it's like maybe a cord or something, but if not, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I messed around with it a little bit. Sorry.
It's okay. Well, people will listen to John commentating in Morse code, even, I'm sure.
No. All right, so for the top of the order here, 1 and 2, this gets to be a little bit of quandary if you take a picture here or not. For sure you would in a 15, but 12 you can get away without it, maybe. I've seen quite a few starts from the 1-2 with 3 hitters. Let's see what these 2 gentlemen do. I'm guessing a pitcher goes in the corner here, at least one.
Closer.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what he does.
Miller off the board.
Yeah, he is moving up in the draft boards. Each draft I'm in, he seems to be moving higher and higher. So he's locked in closer 1, where before him and Edwin Diaz were kind of bouncing back and forth, seemed like. So he's kind of solidified that pick.
The Mason Miller's ADP, I'm looking at OCs. Now we can cut, when we're looking at ADP, we can kind of shorten the dates a little bit, especially to capture recent news and trends. So I'm looking at ADP for the last 5 days. There have been 14 OC drafts, and Mason Miller's ADP is 29.9. So this is a 24. Somebody just wanted to get the lights out surefire closer there.
He's not making it back in round 4, so get your guys right.
That's right.
He's struggling with his pick, winding the clock all the way down.
All the way down.
Trey Turner. Pretty good batting average, speed start with Ohtani, Turner, and then throw in Miller. There's a clear divide for me after those top 3 pitchers. I know we saw it on the main ADP last night where Christopher Sanchez did jump into the first round. I think there's a significant drop-off after Crochet to him. So in the 12 teamers, it's definitely hard to click that next pitcher, whether it's Sanchez or one of that next group of the 1Bs, we'll call them, after Escobar, Skeens, and Crochet.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm surprised that Sanchez didn't go, to 1 or 2 there, but there he goes in 3. So 2, 3.
All right, turning back around, I got to start thinking about my next pick. Let's see.
So closer 2 off the board.
Vlad, is your VDP early pretty close to ADP? And I know obviously the later you get, the guys kind of stand out in it. Is there any kind of jumps off your list that you're looking at coming up?
There are. I've had a couple of the Seattle pitchers ahead of ADP for quite some time. Obviously, in this case, having Crochet already, I'm not sure I'm going to go with another early one. Especially seeing your draft with the loaded hitters on Friday, or the other day when we did your draft Thursday. I think the Seattle guys. There's obviously another shortstop I like there who I probably will not be drafting, although I'm not averse to grabbing a second middle infield. But there are just so many middle infielders I'm going to like later that there's no reason for me to force it here.
Yeah. John, any Milwaukee love from you this year? I know you were big on Jackson Chourio last year. Are you still in on him, or is he kind of just at value for you? You see another jump coming in him?
No, I love Jackson Chourio for sure. Yep. Yelich, I'll take at the right spot as well. There's lots lots of pieces of the Milwaukee lineup that I like this year for sure. Oh, there goes Neto.
Hunter Brown goes a little early per usual. He had a big start today. It was obviously not the best lineup he was facing, but he had 4 shutout innings, 9 strikeouts. He's rounding into form. So that's
it is reaction season, right, Vlad? If you're not reacting, you're underreacting or overreacting. So you got to react to something.
Yeah, and he's a solid pitcher to get. I know I've seen some bust articles. I don't think he's going to be a flat out bust, but I do think that is not a place I would necessarily take him.
All right, you're up, Vlad.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy that this guy fell here. I wrote about him in a bold predictions article. I think he stays healthy, gets you 600 plus plate appearances, and
there we go.
Finally hits 40, if not 40, 50. So Jordan, I'm happy.
Nice.
Now his K issue's fixed, John, just like that. Good pick, Mr. Vlad.
Right.
His DC ADP in the first couple months was wild, around pick 60. I couldn't believe how late he was going.
So, Vlad, you comfortable passing closer here, or what are you thinking?
Yes. I mean, I think the Philly closer is a solid option. I'm very happy with my 2 starting pitcher picks. I'm sorry, my 2 starting hitter picks. I would have heavily considered Cade Smith there, and I feel like any of the other hitters might be a bit of a push. I have so much of this guy, but I'm just gonna do it anyways. Yeah, I don't want to diversify. I just, if he goes down, hopefully I got enough pitching or can pick up some guys off the waiver.
And Ric Flair just jumped into my head. Woo! I mean, your ratios with those top 2, Vlad, that is just juicy fruit. So pretty good start. If Luke can stay healthy, he's definitely in that top group. Surprised he fell that late behind all those other pitchers.
No, I love the idea of taking an early pitcher and then backing it up with another one a round or 2 later. Just hammer that advantage. I see a lot of teams go early, taking a starting pitcher, and then they think they're good for a while, and you've just lost your advantage, kind of. So backing it up with a strong SP2 right there is great. This thing's going pretty well to ADP. I'm kind of tracking it as the recent ADP, and it's pretty true to form right now.
Just finishing up that first tier of closers. Yellow Brick Road seems like it's kind of coming into form. So we'll see how these teams that don't have much pitching, other than Team 2, everyone's kind of got their pitching. So pretty well-rounded. Team 2 and 11 kind of don't have much pitching yet other than closer or nothing for Team 2. I'm sure they'll get something on the way back, but pretty balanced so far as the strategies.
Because he gave me the okay the other day, and I won't say what team he is. Maybe if he responds back in this draft via text later and says, sure, go ahead. I don't think he really cares. He's just been dominated for so long. But the only 2-time main event winner, overall winner, Lindy Hinkelman, is in this draft. He is one of these teams here. And
all right, Lindy's in the house.
Yeah.
Man, the Beat Vlad League, Lindy jumps in, huh? No.
I don't think I think he's busy prepping, researching, working and stuff. I don't think he has time to hang out much on social media. So he didn't know this was going on. And he was like, hey, this is the time that works for me. I'm going to draft. So, and I would never ask anyone to back out of a draft anyways. It is what it is.
Bring him on, right?
That's right. Is that another John trying to get in the studio? Should I replace that John?
Might look like it. Looks like he might have froze.
All right. Hey, John.
Hey, does that sound any better?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Nice. All right.
Great.
Cool.
All right. So I cut out just when you were talking about Lindy. Great to hear that he's in this one.
Yes. Lindy's in here. I'll I don't think I told you where, but I'll tell you where he's drafting from, and then if he gets back to me, I'll share that with people.
No
So.
problem. All right, so William Contreras, that was a little bit early on him. Min pick is 45, so somebody's jumping that one.
Right at it. So Vlad, you've kind of put yourself in a position, circling back, that you got speed, you got batting average, you got power, you got pitching. So you're in a good spot to kind of, it's kind of take advantage of what falls to you now. So I really like what you've done so far. Any ideas which direction you're going, or does it kind of depend what you're looking at, who's on the board?
Yeah, I think that there are certain things that positions, for example, like I've just been comfortable with waiting on second base. So I think that's probably something I'm going to do again. I'm not going to, switch things up with a terrain, even though I think it would be fine, but that's probably not what I'm going to do. I've been experimenting with some earlier catchers than usual. In the 15 team, the TGFBI, I took Contreras in the 4th. And the thing is, only thing with it is, I love the pick. I love the player. I think he could be the C1, in fact, but he was the 2 previous years. But I don't love how the builds sometimes work out there with a Contreras or a Rice or even a Raleigh in the 2nd. So I don't know. Just I feel like you got to be like also in a comfort spot. John, I don't know how often do you get out of your comfort zone, or are you kind of hammering similar strategies in these OCs?
Nah, it's similar. I pretty heavy, generally go pretty heavy yellow, but not crazy like some crazy builds I've seen over the last couple of days. There's some really crazy, 6, 7, 8 hitters in a row type strategies, as well as 5, 6 yellow starts, right? I've seen a couple of each in the last few days. So, but I can't do it myself, but at the end of the day, when I look at the draft at the end, they did okay either way, right? So I've always wanted to try it just once or twice, but at the end of the day, I gotta stay balanced. It's just my nature, I guess.
I think we've all gone in trying to try it, and then we get in the draft room and we can't do it.
No, that's exactly right.
Oh, this plan's gonna be great, and then you get on the clock and you're like, nope, sorry. Vlad, how many more OCs do you have?
So I do 5 a year. Last year I did 4. I would love to do as many as possible, but to be honest, I really want to be concentrating on delivering best content and fab article and everything that I do. So with son playing travel hockey, I just have to limit it a little bit. I am going to do a couple of mains. I'm always going to be in industry in the industry leagues. There are side pots. Of course, I do like to play for money. It's but I really am big on, no matter how much people make fun of it, I really very much like to support it. I like to see new people in. We obviously love to have new blood in the NFBC, not just to beat people, but to have people get better and really enjoy it. Because NFBC, I think there's nothing like it. But pretty much everything I play is on NFBC, and I'll try to fit in one more OC at some point in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I have one more to go to, and then full 15 team mode ahead.
There's Terang.
That was for you, John.
Yeah, that's a good. I mean, that matches up well with that, right? He's the Raleigh owner, needs some speed. What do you guys think about? I saw Chapman go. I've seen this a couple times now too. Chappie going ahead of Devin Williams and Bednar. Seems like he's jumped up a little bit here.
For me, if Chapman can just keep any of those skills gained, I think I have him at least even with him, if not ahead. I mean, but at that age to have that kind of skills growth was kind of crazy. So he just stopped walking, guys. I'll get back to it and let Vlad answer after he picks here on the wrap. He's on the clock now.
So the pick 9 just made my decision easier for me because, of course, I was considering Roman Anthony there. But there's also someone who's way past his ADP, and I cannot let him go. Any guesses on who it is?
Yeah, Matt Olson.
Yeah, that's it. That feels too good. Matt Olson, Ellie Jordan, and I've got power. I feel pretty good with the offensive start there.
Like it.
As for your question about the closers, I very much prefer Devin Williams. I love Devin Williams this year. I think he has a very good shot at being the number 1 overall. He had an incredibly unlucky year, looking at everything from differential between his peripherals and his ERA, his strand rate, BABIP. Now he's at a Yankee Stadium. Now he's with the Mets. Good vibes there. They're going to win a lot of games. They're tied for the second biggest Vegas favorite for wins this season. I think 93.5 was the last I saw, tied with the Yankees. And yeah, so he's my favorite guy of those three. I do like Bednar just a little bit more than Aroldis.
Yeah, I might flip Bednar and Devin, but yeah, I'd have Chappie third on that. But they're close, similar tier. And surprising that one of them didn't make it to you there, Vlad. So now you're in the next tier of closers.
Yeah, I'm in the next tier, and I'm not panicking. I'm not going to take one here. So yeah, I'll just wait, get probably another hitter.
It's interesting. We talk about Devin Williams and Bednar and Chapman. Bednar lost his job last year in Pittsburgh. Devin Williams lost his job last year in New York, and Chapman, had a monster year. I mean, it's easy. Not that I would take Chapman ahead of them, but I think it's not unwarranted that he did go there. There's risk with everyone, I believe there. And then good vibes as a Mets. I'm not a Mets fan, but I think Mets fans don't understand what good vibes are. They're always negative towards that team. All right, Vlad, you're back up.
All right.
Ooh, he's got the Braves stat going. I knew that was coming.
Did?
I did. What are your guys' thoughts on Maikel Garcia versus Austin Riley? I'm seeing this auctions. Garcia's going ahead. ADP, they're about equal. Where are you guys at with that?
I'm typically taking Garcia before Riley, depending on the build, I guess. But I'm almost always needing or wanting those stolen bases there.
What about you, Vlad?
That's very. I think it's where your build is at that moment. So, yeah, I think in a vacuum, I kind of trust Riley more. Maikel Garcia has been buzzy for a long time, and there are a lot of good reasons for it. Like when I started, content and started getting ready for content in November. So see him going top 100 and everything. I'm like, all right, this is it's cool. Then when you really start to dig into him, made some incredible improvements last year. He could take it another level. He's a big potential breakout, like another next level. A very, very, very good hitter, and that lineup is great. The fence is moving in and all that. But I do like Riley very much. I think having Olsen kind of helped me a little bit. And hey, this is a guy that was returning for second round value until his last couple seasons of random injuries.
Yeah. And
Team
John,
6 there. I was sorry, Jason, I was just taking a look at Team 6. He took Josh Naylor, so now he's got Soto, Schwarber, PCA, Langoliers, and Naylor to go with Ragans. So he's 5 hitters, lots of power.
And then Team 9 kind of did what you were talking about earlier, was drafting that high ace and then kind of just going hard hitting. It might have lost the advantage from taking Skeens. It'll be interesting. There's still a lot of good pitchers that he can work with, so it's not any issues yet, but it's kind of like Vlad backed up Crochet with Wu, and he just kept kind of hammering hitting it as far as Team 9 goes.
Yeah, if I'm the Skeens owner, I definitely wanted to take a pitcher there in 3 or 4, probably in 4. I would have took Sale right over Wood, but to me that looks a lot better. Skeens, Sale to go with Cheerio, Kettle, Marte. But hey, there's a ways to go yet. But early on, we've got a couple teams with 1 starter and 5 hitters. Generally see a little bit more yellow on that, but Team 3 just took his second starter, so he's got 2 and 1 now, 2 starters and 1 closer.
Team 1, by the way, also are high stakes drafters. They're pretty good. They come to Vegas every year. They're a combo, so those guys are solid. They can feel free, if you're watching the stream, you can pop in, say hello, unless you're busy focused in drafting. But yeah, that's an interesting build there. You got the closer, 5 and 4 hitters without a starting pitcher. So I'm sure they have some mid-round starters that they love.
John, kind of circling back to the Maikel Garcia conversation versus Austin Riley. Vlad and I talked about this in one of our pods about getting speed from corner positions or catcher and how much that can impact your total stolen bases. I know me as someone that's always lacking in stolen bases. I'm trying to make a little more of a conscious effort at those positions to try to get speed if I can. Do you focus on that at all for tiebreakers, for rankings, like trying to get some speed from a third base or a first base?
No, I mean, I guess it is a bonus if you can get it from there because it doesn't always come from there. But yeah, maybe a tiebreaker. In general, I just look at that profile a little bit better on Garcia, but Riley could be a monster this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good thought process, though, getting the speed from a catcher or a third base or somewhere, not usual. Okay, so speaking of catcher, Team 1 doubled up on his catcher, so
Wow.
he's got Rice and Goodman. So he still is looking for his first starting pitcher after 7 rounds. So you probably hammer a bunch of starters in a row later, it looks like. But interesting start.
Really like Team 2 start with the 3 hitters and then going Fried, Chappie, Luzardo, and then throw in Cody Bellinger now. I think really well-rounded. Got the strikeouts, got the wins, got some saves, obviously stolen bases. They're in a good spot as well.
I'm going to start throwing some players into my queue. I rarely have a first base and third base this early, usually playing the later range with a lot of those guys. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Probably skip on most of these CIs up until maybe like pick 180 overall, around there. I've got a shortstop. I'm looking at second baseman. I'm comfortable waiting on as well. That's usually a position I punt. And this is rare. I've never been in this season, round 7, without an outfielder. So that always gets a little uncomfortable. We got to start 5 of them in this format. John, anything you do, and Jason, I know we've talked about this before on our podcast, with the guys that come later, like in the 200s, who are platoon heavy guys, so lefties who hit righties, the Kerry Carpenters, Cagliones of the world, Varshos, are these guys that are part of your builds, or are you trying to avoid them because it's too much streaming?
Yeah, too much streaming. I think you're trying to not go that route. You mentioned having first and third filled. That just makes me think about working the draft backwards, right? So there's at the end, there's quite a few corner options available, and maybe we'll get to that when we get around 20 or 21 or 22, and you're going to say, oh man, look at this guy still there. That's what it seems like it always happens to me when I go a little bit early on a first base or third base, but third base this year, it's pretty weak, right? So glad to see you grabbed one there. First base or your corner infield spot, I think I'm generally waiting on my corner infield spot. But I was wondering where Cease was going to go there. That's nice, middle of 7th, right? That's a good get there for Team 7 to go with Hunter Brown and Logan Webb. He's kind of like that build that he's got going right there. He's got Raleigh, started with Jose, added the speed and terrain, and now he's got 3 nice SPs with a top-notch closer. Boyd, Mookie, look at where he fell to.
I swear this is not just a Dodger homer thing, but I think people are going to really regret that. Like I'm seeing on Twitter comparisons of, why take Mookie when you can get, everyone projects Tovar for the same numbers. Like, come on. You're comparing Tovar to Mookie Betts.
Last half of round 7, Mookie Betts.
I'm glad you're up.
Don't blow it, Vlad.
No pressure.
No.
We need a big pick here.
Yeah. So listen, haven't been clicking on Riley Green. I think he is an option here. I can get fancy there are a couple of outfield, but there's, this is a tough spot. How much speed do I have? I don't have all that much speed. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna see what comes to me, just because I'm in a kind of bit of a hurry. So I'm just gonna take the closer.
It's the right pick. Get that locked in.
Yeah, especially with the news that they came out and said he's only pitched in the 9th. I like that. If you're a Helsley owner, you love to hear that from your manager.
Team 11 snap picked Riley Green after you passed him, so they were pretty happy that you did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pass up 30 and 90 plus. I mean, that's kind of, what you're getting at. So funny that this turn happens this way. So my fancy pick would have been Drake Baldwin, who I'm really starting to love, and lock in a catcher and to get the 2 hitter with the 3-4 hitter. Probably what I should have done. And then I didn't have an outfielder, so I was looking at an outfielder. And the reason why I wasn't going to take Helsley is because I looked at teams 11 and 12. They each had one closer, and I just took a wild guess that they probably weren't going to take another one there at the turn.
Right.
So now I'm regretting my Helsley pick a little bit here.
Is that ADP for Baldwin, John, or is that a little early?
79.
Yeah, that's about right. Yep.
Okay.
He's in line. Vlad, you mentioned looking at the picks behind you or before you. That's the nice part about being near the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Team 2 or team 11 in this case, or even 3 and 10. It can you can play that ADP game a little bit better just by looking at the board and seeing what they need.
And they went double catcher there.
Yep.
Yeah, I want to say it's my first strategic mistake, just because I thought I can get my hitter and then Helsley, and the 2 guys I was looking at both went, and so that's kind of why I'm regretting it just a little bit. So what do you guys think of Randy here? That's what I'm looking at, Rosarena. He is not in a typical like Vlad build kind of guy, but I get some power and speed.
Scares me a little bit with Ellie's floor on the batting average with Randy's combo. But you have Jordan and Olsen and Riley are not zeros on batting average. So, I mean, you get that speed, you get a middle of the bat in Seattle or middle of the order in Seattle. So I don't hate it, but there's a lot of good players. And go with your gut.
I like him, Springer, and Suzuki about the same. And you guys know I'm a Luis Robert Jr. guy. Who would you take?
You got 8 seconds. You better choose.
Springer. I would have said Suzuki there.
I think that's where I would have leaned a little bit as well. But I think the non-Randy pick was the right call, though. You don't want to have to force batting average.
It's hard to move the average later, right? So we need these middle rounds here. You need to move the average back up a little bit, and just the bar is a little bit higher in these 12s as well. So
yep. I'm definitely not expecting a repeat of last year's massive season for George Springer. He's like 37 now. He's not going to hit 290 plus again, but he had 130 games out of 140 games, and I think it should be another fine season for him. Something like 30, 15, 265, something like that. Does that sound about fair?
I'm having a hard time valuing him. I think where he's going makes sense because you're obviously not paying for last year's stats. You are paying for some regression, but I think what you just kind of said was pretty accurate.
Question from Dusty Wagner, who, by the way, was in the first main event last year. That was streamed over on the Pull Hitter podcast. So it was check it out if you can. What's the best position to stream platoon hitter from this year, in y'all's opinion? Because he is from the Houston area.
Go ahead, John.
I don't know. I mean, typically I think outfield when I see that question. But what do you think?
Like you alluded to this already. In OCs, I'm trying to avoid all stream any platoon hitters. I think 15 teams. I think you have to do that and you have to attack it. I'm not really looking at positions for platoon hitters. I'm more looking at guys that can break out of the platoon. But I think, John, your initial thought would be right, just because the mass of outfielders we have to choose from in the 12s, if you are going to do that platoon bat.
It's one of the more frustrating things about MLB baseball is they're so quick to make them a platoon guy. It used to be you needed a certain number of at-bats to make that determination, and they're making it so quick now. It's a little bit frustrating. I feel like some of the guys pegged as platoon bats really shouldn't be, or they have a chance to not be going forward if they just get the chance, right? I know there's a few this year, right? It looks like Kerry Carpenter is going to get a little bit of a shot to hit some lefties, and there's a few others, but let's see what happens. I'm hopeful. I just feel it's so quick, and I know the pressure's on to perform every at bat, and every advantage, every matchup you can make as a manager. But I'd love to see it a little bit less platoon heavy.
I think that's where all the metrics kind of throw a wrench into the game. They're not letting the players succeed. They're letting them fail, or not even letting them fail. Like they're a platoon bat, and they don't even get a chance to prove otherwise. So I agree with you, John. It is frustrating. It was interesting. I heard it from Phil, I believe, on a podcast last year. Is he likes to target right-handed platoon bats and DCs because they have a great chance to break out of that platoon mold.
Yeah.
The lefties basically have zero chance to ever face a left-handed pitcher, where the righties have a good chance to do that. I thought that was fascinating because who wants a short side platoon guy?
Right.
So,
man, so as this round was going at the beginning of the 8th, I was thinking to myself, well, boy, team 1 is hoping for Framber to make it to him, right? And that's really nice there.
That just, changed their team dramatically. That is great.
And I got to think, too, is double tapping catcher here by taking one before the turn, but maybe not. Let's see what he does.
So here we are. This is round 9. We'll probably take you through around round 20 or so of this draft. Draft goes about 30 rounds. I'm joined by Jason Anthony. He actually will be switching with legendary NFBC streamer Brandon Corked Wood. He will be coming in soon. I've got Hall of Famer John Pausma with us as well. I just want to thank everybody for joining in, listening, and watching here. The Beat Vlad League. By the way, the winner of this league we have a partnership with Trophy Smack, so they'll get you a pretty sweet championship ring. So definitely good luck to all of you. I mean, none of you. And FTNfantasy.com. This is where we're at. This is where all the content can be found. If you are not a subscriber, got to check it out. Cheat sheets, different sets of rankings for best ball roto, everything you need, content. By this year's ELH article is going to come out this Wednesday or Thursday. We've got a draft kit only package if you want it, but MLB26 is a promo code if you want to use that. There's also a promo code for Judge. So if you are a New York perk guy, Yankees girl or gal, Judge is another promo code you can use for that.
John, you alluded to this. I think Team 2 made a mistake there, and I don't know if it hurt them or not taking Will Smith before the wrap, knowing that Team 1 already had 2 catchers, even though Ben Rice is first base eligible. I doubt he was taking a third catcher there. So that catcher was going to be available with the second pick around 9. So it's just, little nuances of drafting. Really make sure to pay attention to the teams around you. It happened to me in my live stream where I was Team 2 and Team 1 had Ohtani. So I was able to push Schwarber into round 3 because knowing that he couldn't take him as well. So just pay attention to everything around you guys.
Although I have seen an Ohtani Schwarber team once upon a time.
I think that was Mr. Zimmerman last year in our auction, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
That was entertainment at its finest.
Tough nights in Vegas,
Yeah.
I think that was the morning.
Back to that 2-1 thing there. I think one was taken yellow either way, right? So didn't hurt him there. So that's fine. He got his guy, Will Smith. He's probably a Dodger fan anyway. So, now there goes another closer. So what do you think of Vlad as you get closer to your pick here?
All right, so I'm on the clock. I'm going to take a quick look and see what people have on the turn. I'm guessing Team 12 is going to go with a pitcher and possibly Team 11 as well. Looking at the pitcher board now quick. I'm not ready to take Hunter Green. There are a couple of pitchers, but for the most part, a little bit of a drop-off, so I don't mind waiting a little bit with my strong start at pitcher. I do need another outfielder. There's a guy that I love, and I'm just going to click on him.
You professed your love for Luis Robert earlier. You better take him.
Yes. I have a couple of DCs with, I think it's Buxton and Luis Robert Jr., and I don't have regrets. Even if they get hurt or whatever, it is what it is. I'm going for it.
Jason, he's back to winning Ks again now.
Well, he had to get back there because he was going to do a Rosarina, so he had to get down there anyway. All right, back up, Vlad.
You know what it is? It's Mike Mager in my head. Where I know Mager loves Randy, and it's just kind of get me on another look, So I'm definitely can be influenced, but it is hard. There are certain guys it's hard to click on.
All right, so
I have a guy. Are you guys opposed to me taking Wheeler here?
No.
No, that's
It's about where he should go,
Yeah.
if not even a little earlier, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not going to take a closer. Got enough hitters for now, and I just feel that like if I get even 5 months from him, really solidifies my staff. As my 3, I feel good about it.
Yeah.
You said it, Vlad. We're trying to win the overall, right? As much as you want to win the league prize, you got to take some shots.
Yeah, this is that's a spot to take him there in this type of format. I think, if you were just trying to win the league or playing a little more conservative, I think the catcher, Houston catcher here would be nice. Fits your team well in terms of needing some batting average. But from the catcher position, it can get pretty ugly later on that.
Oh, Jim Christie in the house. Jim says, much different than yesterday's Maine. Wow. Definitely different. The Maines are a different animal. We'll start to see some of that influence, perhaps, I think, in the OC in the coming weeks. But you're right. Like a lot of the players pushed up. I haven't really looked at the board much outside of the first couple rounds. But I don't know. Have you guys seen any picks here that have been influenced by that first main event yesterday?
No, it's pretty status.
This is going pretty well. Pretty true to form. Like Strider 10th, right? I think he went in the 5th in the main. Although it's a 15 team versus 12, but still.
By the way, talk about a guy who moves up 2 rounds with every velocity reading, right? Spencer Strider. It's crazy.
I mean, just this success, it just shows when he's at a certain velocity, right? How good he can be. And if he's not, then he's really mediocre. So that 2-3 miles an hour just matters tremendously for him. Speaking of velocity, Vlad, you mentioned Hunter Green kind of tongue-in-cheek. Have we got any news from his visit with the doctors as far as a follow-up, since they said it was not a torn UCL?
I haven't seen anything.
Have you seen anything, John?
No, I haven't either.
Interesting. Does not seem very good.
No, the longer it takes for news to come out, the more worried we should be, I feel, usually.
Yeah. All right. So there goes the catcher I was thinking of. So let's see what's left for, I would think team 1's going to go some yellow again. Team 2 is sitting with 2 starters and a closer, same as 1. So both teams on a turn are on the hunt for some yellow. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, they're all in the same boat, right? 2 and 1. They got to come away with 1 starting pitcher in this turn each, I think. I'm guessing.
So that is a really good thing, Jason, you mentioned about OC records, because that is something I have been tracking. I have been better in the OCs and mains over the years, and I definitely know I'm up there win rate wise. I know John is definitely ahead of me. I think he's the best OC player in history. But there's another guy here that's going to come in, join the trifecta. If you look at his record, he plays multiple between 5 to 15 every single year. Corked Wood, Brandon, we're going to join here the crew. So now we got some OC power. What's up, man?
What's happening, guys? How's everybody doing? Been watching the draft before jumping on here. Got some interesting builds and some good teams. I like it.
Good to see you, Brandon.
Mr. Pausma, nice to see you virtually. I know we've battled over the years in a couple OCs, and I think you've gotten the better of me. But it's always a fun time.
Good to see you.
All right, Jason, welcome. Stay as long as you want, but if your family isn't pulling for you to go, hang out as long as you want. But
I'll probably stay for your next 2 picks, Vlad, and see what you do at the turn there, and then probably bounce off and let Brandon, the almost as good looking bald guy, take over from you.
Nice.
What do you think of what you're seeing here on the boards? Any of these builds stand out to you as far as something maybe that you really like that you would draft yourself, or something that you don't like?
I really like Team 8. The only thing I might have changed was flip-flop Arozarena and Suzuki, just because I don't love the Arozarena batting average. But he did need steals after going, Devers and Betts. So I don't mind it. But J-Rod, Carroll, Neto, Sale, DeGrom takes the falling value in Devers and Betts. And then, Hoffman and Gossman. That is a super, super solid foundation for a really strong across-the-board team. So that's the one that I had my eye on the most that I liked.
And then interestingly,
Definitely a build type.
Yeah, it's a nice build. I agree with you, Brandon. And across the board, every team's got one closer at least. So nobody's punting saves at this point, which normally doesn't happen in an OC anyway. But interestingly enough, in an OC, you're more likely to have 3 closers than 2, probably, for most teams, or 2.5 they're trying to get at the end of the year, right? So probably you'll see a bunch of late picks going for the spec closers. But everybody's trying to get the one sure thing plus a middle guy maybe, and then take a chance on a third guy later.
Yeah. I also like what Team 5's doing. They have some innings concerns with Chase Burns and Emmett Sheehan as their 2 and 3, but a lot of firepower. If they can stay healthy and get the innings, I like what their offense has done so far with Acuna, Caminero, Rooker, Perdomo, Soderstrom. So off to a nice start there.
Did a cartwheel and it didn't go well.
All right, I've got. At what point do you consider Hunter Green? Like, if you just kind of build the all incredible team, I don't know. My lean now is I don't know. I don't think I can pull the trigger on it. I feel like certain players you can afford to kind of take a swing at it and something like that here and still make up for it during the season in Fab and maybe later in the draft. But I don't know. I don't know if I have a great feeling about this.
At this point, I think it's pretty tough. I mean, you just took Wheeler with your last pick. It's pretty hard to back that up with Hunter Green. And obviously, I know you're not thinking right now, but even farther down the line, with so much uncertainty, he's saying his elbow feels great, but every pitcher is going to tell you that their elbow feels great. The medicals are going to tell you something different.
Yep.
Another week we'll have some more clarity. I can't see it being anything but a couple months, but hey, you drafted Brian Wu. It seems like he's got a forearm strain every other week, and the guy just keeps pitching, and just keeps dominating. So some guys are built different, and they can just pitch through it. I don't think Green, with his size and his mechanics, is that guy. But I've been wrong. I will continue to be wrong. I just wouldn't do it. I lucked out so far. I don't actually have any through 6 OCs, so I kind of dodged a bullet there.
6 OCs. You're a maniac.
Yeah, I like drafting early, John. I've had a lot more success doing early stuff. So I got 3 more paid for, and
nice.
We'll see. You usually do somewhere in the double-digit range. How many do you have under your belt so far?
I did 5 already, so yeah.
Okay. You usually do lucky 13, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
He's not stalking you, John. I promise.
I might be paying attention a little bit. Just slightly.
Let me ask you guys before if you is there any 3 of you that know which team Lindy is? Do all of you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I would say
Take a guess, because he said go for it.
no. I'm going to say 2 based on the Dodgers. He loves he and I was going to say early
Former
on,
Dodgers.
whichever one Teoscar goes to is going to be Lindy. So I'm saying 2.
It's 2, yeah, and former Dodgers, Bellinger, Michael Bush.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
You know your guys, John.
All
All right, Vlad, you're up.
All right.
right.
I got a guy here I'm interested in. He is an outfielder. He gets me a little bit more speed. He helps with my average. Is anyone opposed to Jacob Marcy? No.
Oh, you can take him. I mean, it does give you a little bit of speed.
I think it works well for your team. You got the power base with Yordo and Olsen, Riley. Springer's a little bit of an unknown, but I think you can pencil him in for 20 or 25. And, Robert, you just need that one healthy season from him, right? I mean, that guy could be 30-30, or he could play 30 games. He's a big question mark, but he's a good dart to fire in OCs. Replacement value's high, so I like those kind of guys a lot.
I think it's a good pick, Vlad. I don't know where Marcy's batting average is going to fall. That it could be 240 to 280. I have no idea.
I messed that part up when I was describing him. I don't think he's a batting average guy. It just gets me a little bit more speed, probably.
Yeah.
And runs, and he won't be a zero at home run in homers, but he's good. He's talented.
And you got your 3 outfielders now. You caught back up.
Yep, right on the outfielders, looking good position-wise. You need a second yet. Need a plan for catcher. And, if Wheeler's not ready to go right off the bat, you need an SP3 and your second closer.
Yep. I'm going to wait for this guy I have a starter in mind. There's a reliever I like a lot here as well. And if I miss my starting pitcher, could go for it. I mean, if I really want to get, I'm not going to take him here. Oh, well, there goes my guy. That's who I was going to take. Michael King. Nice and safe.
Yep.
So, we've all been burned by Glass now, but if I'm building this, what I feel is a little bit of a monster, why not go a little bit more monsterish?
I think it's value at pick 135 here in a 12-teamer. Replacement cost is not as high when he does go out. But more strikeouts, good ratios, a lot of wins. I like it.
He's not hurt yet.
Exactly. I've taken him a couple times for that exact reason. He's not hurt yet. Dodgers are good. They're already slow playing Snell, so he should pitch right away. I think the next guy who went, Pagan, also, maybe on your radar, but you said you're waiting for C2, so closer to.
Yeah, he's a guy that I'm not fully trusting, and I know numbers last year were solid, peripherals, underlying metrics, everything said, hey, he's fine, he's good, but still that park, a little bit of the BABIP. I don't know, not a huge Pagan. Although my biggest ever DFS win several years ago was a home run off Pagan, so he'll always be special in my heart.
Guys, I'm going to jump off. Vlad, great work. Finish this monster off, buddy. John, I'll see you in a couple weeks in Vegas.
Right,
Brandon,
Jason.
We'll talk soon, buddy.
Yeah.
Follow
All
him
right,
at Boom62. Thanks, Jason.
Talk soon.
Jason Anthony will be back on the podcast circuit very soon.
All right. So this is probably the area where we're going to see a couple the Connor Griffin's probably going to be in the next couple of rounds, right? Based on ADP somewhere. It'll be interesting to see where he goes.
Are they split squatting still? Because I didn't see him in the lineup today. They scored a bunch of runs. He wasn't playing. I was wondering why.
I haven't been paying attention, so I'm definitely not the guy to ask.
I think he hit another homer. Was it yesterday maybe? But almost every hit's been a homer, but there hasn't been many hits. So
I'd be shocked if he came back around to me. I'm also heavily overexposed. Not that I would keep it from me taking him here, but I've got him on my OCCLQ, my DCCLQ, and lots of other places.
So here goes Rutschman. So he seems to be leading that next tier of catchers from what I've been seeing after that middle tier goes. So you're still needing 2 catchers, Vlad. So see what you're thinking about that.
Yep. There's one guy I'm willing to wait a little bit for who I like that hopefully be my C2, and I might grab somebody on the way before then, until then. Than that. Let me throw this question out. One of our FTN subscribers, Randy. Where are you guys at with Sheehan's innings pitched? Do you have an innings projection?
I think 120-ish is a pretty good number. Anything above that is probably found money, but I do like him. Again, same kind of concept as, Glass now, Snell being slow played. The guy's a notorious slow starter anyways. And Sheehan was really good when he pitched last year. Elevated K rate, pitching for the best team in baseball. Give me all the Dodger pitchers I can get at value. And I feel like Glass now and Sheehan are pretty good value.
Yeah, I think he does 120 at least, right? Maybe 130. Good. He's a good pick, I think, for sure.
Yeah,
he's definitely getting pushed up, though. I mean, going inside the top 10 rounds is not something he was doing a couple weeks ago. He was going pick 150-ish. I liked it a lot better there. I don't know how far up the board I'll chase him.
Red Fox Roto, our closer aficionado, he was in the Beat Jason League the other day. No split squad for Griffin. He sat and the Pirates ran out a lineup of regulars. Have to imagine he starts in AAA, but doesn't stay there long. That's along the lines of what you were thinking, right, Brandon, or that he would not start on opening day, right?
Yeah, I thought there was close to a 0% chance that he would crack the opening day lineup. When he gets called up, I don't know. Again, maybe it's just a money and service time manipulation thing by the Pirates, but
Not Pittsburgh. No way.
yeah, I've always just been going back to the Bubba Chandler thing from last year, and how much they kind of jerked him around, and using that as my case study for what the Connor Griffin timeline is going to be. I don't think it's going to be as late as it was for Chandler, but if he's not up before the All-Star break, it's just a brutal pick inside the 150 because you're going to hold it for a while. Shortens your bench. Just makes it tough to maneuver in 12s.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go on the turn.
All right.
The Lindy is really Lindy-ish, right? These picks. Sonny Gray.
Yep. Nice. Lodolo, nice upside. Sonny Grace, very steady. To go with Freed, very steady. Luzardo, some upside. So he's looking for a second closer yet as well. Team 1 started yellow really late on starting pitching, and he added 3 in a row. Framber, McLean, Rasmussen, and probably let's see what he does on this turn.
Well, there he is. Spoke it into existence.
There, yep.
Yeah. All right. Looking good. I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do here. There's one more question here I'm going to bring up. And
so he might be sitting 2 guys right away.
Yeah, looks like it. Jay Steele, I don't think it's the Justin Steele, but heard that the sharp play was not drafting a pitcher until after round 5. Is that not a thing anymore? So the NFBC it's just a different animal, and especially in these type of contests with the overall component, if you punt pitchers, you're not really going to have a shot unless you just hit lightning in the bottle with your late round pitchers and you nail everybody and they're all top 40 overall pitchers. It's just it's really tough not only to win your league but then compete in the overall. Right, guys?
I agree with that.
It's challenging. You can get away with taking 1 SP in the first 5 rounds to go with 4 hitters or 1 relief pitcher, but it is really hard to go 5 hitters and then start filling in your starting pitching staff, let alone 2, maybe 3 relievers to round it out before the end of the draft. Because just look at the first 5 rounds. 25 yellow stickers, maybe more. So you're starting yourself off in a pretty big hole. It's tough.
All right, here we go. Coming around. What else? Oh, McLean, Matt McLean. The helium is rising with this hot spring. Sure. He's gone from 200. Now he's going 140-ish.
Yeah, no, I like that pick. The gap between Rafaela and McLean is decreasing, right? He's coming in right behind him now. Those are nice. You get a little bit of everything there, right?
Are you a Rafaela guy, John?
I am.
It's just not a profile I can get behind. We talked about this on Jason's league. I just said, Rafaela and Harris are just kind of the same for me. They just not enough juice in the bat for where they're going to potentially be in the batting order.
Yeah, McLean's going to be in a better spot potentially.
Yeah, no, McLean should bat second, right? So, I like that. And in Cincinnati, not that Boston's a bad lineup, but we know the Cincinnati ballpark is just elite for boosting hitting categories.
Right on. All right, Vlad, coming up to you. What are you thinking?
All right. I can grab an elite semi-closer, or I can grab, there goes my batting average catcher. I was going to take Kirk.
Right. Yep. Would have been a fit, I think.
That's a good pick at that point in the draft.
I have a lot of power. I do like Francisco Alvarez, but I don't know if I need the batting average. It's questionable.
Yeah, that could be a tough combo with Luis Robert and Ellie.
Right. Yeah. Some risk there on average.
I was gonna click on Griffin Jacks. Anybody not like him? I'll pick him any other way, but
that's a decent fall for him in recent drafts. Actually,
Yeah.
He's been getting pushed up, around 10, 11. But I think this is kind of about where he should go. I won't name names, but there's a couple other guys who I feel like are in this tier. Have the role to start the season. Semi-questionable how long they keep it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He's got good stuff though.
Yep. He could take it and run with it, and it'd be a great pick. Or he could. The other guys come back.
yeah, it's a tough spot because I still like Trevor McGill, no problem with it, but just not knowing what's going to be happening there with. Obviously that team better, John. But Jax to me, I've had him well below ADP for quite a while, but then when the Uceta elbow, I believe it was, sort of issue, and I haven't seen a recent update. And looking there, that I know they want a platoon. Just kind of have a committee. And there's Garrett Clevenger, the lefty, and then Uceta. But Griffin Jacks is one of the elite relievers in baseball, right? Like he's just top 10 as far as like pure stuff, everything.
Yeah.
So
Just a matter if he gets the ninth or not is the question. He'll start out getting it, and hopefully they keep him in there and he can run with it.
Yeah, I know a lot gets made about Tampa Bay, using closer by committee quite a bit, but they really didn't the last couple of years. When Fairbanks was healthy, he pitched.
Right.
He just got hurt a lot. So I think people kind of have more of an idea that they're a committee team more so than they actually are. It was just forced on them by Fairbanks being unable to stay on the mound. And Jax, we always talk about closers, right? You want rollover skills, especially to start the season. And he's got the role and he has good skills. So I think it's a good pick at that price point for, an RP2. And you can back it up, like John said, with a spec, after around 20 somewhere. There's, probably a handful, 5 or 6 guys that are still going that late that are going to start with the role and, had saves last year. So I like it. It's a good build. It's a good piece for kind of how your team's being constructed.
All right. So team 11 double tap catcher. So now 12 and 11 both
I'm
have
up.
2 catchers.
Yeah.
John, you may not like this, but I'm not going to take a catcher here.
No, I don't know if I would right here. I'm not sure I would either right here based on who's left. So
yeah, I feel like this tier has a lot of similarity to it. So let's see where Vlad goes with 5 seconds left on the clock here. Oh, nice.
Trevor Ryan.
I believe.
Boy, did he help me down the stretch last year. I had him on 6 years, 60% of my teams. And not that last start he had hurt me because I got the other 10 or 15 great ones that he gave me before getting lit up for 6 Aaron. But always a sour taste to have that be the last thing you see for a guy that was rocketing your team with the standings throughout the second half of the year.
So now we're getting to the section of the draft where we should start seeing a little bit more disparity in terms of how close it's tracking to ADP, right? And we should see that, like, here's a pick that I don't know that this guy's healthy. He could regret that pick, but let's see what the word is. I'm worried about his health.
Who's that? Which one?
Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it a health thing? I wasn't sure. I thought maybe they were just taking it easy with him, not pushing him. They have so many starters.
I don't know if they've said exactly. I just feel like it's a health thing.
Yeah.
It could just be me. I'm not an
Right.
expert for sure. All right, here comes a couple quote unquote closers going off the board. Jansen and Santana. Look what you started with, Jax there.
Yeah, those are the guys I was talking about.
Yeah.
I feel like are kind of in that same spot as Jax. Have the role to start the season. Skills might be questionable, but you just try to bank as many saves as you can until they either blow it or lose it, and move on.
Yeah, and I missed that Uribe went there, so he went ahead of McGill in this one.
McGill. Yeah, I thought Team 5 might double tap with McGill making it all the way back around. and just kind of lock up that bullpen, see how it shakes out over the next couple of weeks. But he didn't.
John, you're the resident Milwaukee guy. Who ends up with more saves this season for the Brewers?
I'm going to say Team 5 picked the right guy, especially in this format. I think Uribe could run with it. He's got such good stuff. But I don't know if I would take both here. What Brandon? That's a good debate and a good question. If he would take both here, he could have double tapped. Just drop the other one if it becomes clear. The danger is, I guess, they both split it, and you got kind of a half a guy. At least Uribe would give you the more strikeouts and more upside, I think. But he could be the fireman, and McGill could be the closer, right? We'll have to see how they work it.
Yeah, Uribe is the one I'm taking of that duo.
Yeah,
I haven't clicked on McGill yet. I took Uribe, I think, in round 15 or 16 in my first OC. I just kind of punted closer, took the shot. This was back in January. Took the shot on him. See what happens.
So what Team 6 did there, right? They piled up 4 starters, and then they came back with a falling Dansby in the middle of the 14th, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Pena team. So now they're set at shortstop, even if Pena misses some time here. Nice pick.
Yeah, I love that Swanson Price. I feel like he's very much the end of the shortstop tier of startable shortstops. And like you said, it's a great piggyback for the Jeremy Pena pick. Casey's out a couple of weeks with that broken finger.
Well, I got some stuff brewing on my plate. I have a good idea. Let's see if the plan can come to fruition. I got some time, but let's see.
Don't tell us yet.
No,
unless we're on delay here, but I don't think we are.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
So you said Lindy was team 2, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's putting together a really solid squad. I like it.
Always the case.
The Judge Jazz combo, I'm a huge fan of. I love that 1-2 punch.
I'm not a fan of necessarily taking Jazz, but to take him with Judge is the right spot. That's perfect.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that gets more grief on social media than Jazz Chisholm? It's pretty crazy. I don't know if you guys follow him. I don't care if he's listening. And I love Red Sox fans and everything. And sorry if you're a Red Sox fan. This Cutter is King guy is super annoying. He's basically just a troll with like thousands of followers, and all he does is troll the Yankees. Like, imagine like that's your life, is just make money social media trolling the Yankees. That's my gripe for the day.
That's all right. They bring it on themselves. It's kind of like people who troll the Dodgers. You got your East Coast superpower and your West Coast superpower, and people love to hate on those who succeed. It's just kind of a universal axiom in life. If you can't do it, just hate on those who are successful. It's just part of life.
This is true.
Round 15 has started. We're almost halfway through. It's moving at a pretty good clip. These OCs go pretty fast. Almost always less than 2 hours. Sometimes you can get a real fast room and it goes even quicker. Oh, there goes one of Vlad's catcher considerations.
That's okay.
So Vlad,
yeah.
Sorry. I would say, based on your start, which is really balanced right now, are you looking for falling value, or do you have a couple guys queued up for targets?
I have a couple guys queued up for targets. I'm noticing a deficiency that I want to address because in the season it's not something I want to chase, and I'll talk about it here in a bit. So we'll see if it works out for me. My Trevor Rogers pick, I feel like, was a little pivotal because there are a lot of later starting pitchers coming up. I feel like it was maybe a little bit of a little excess, where maybe I could have just taken like a solid hitter. But honestly, at that point, there wasn't anyone that really stood out to me, so I didn't do it.
It's also some good insurance for Glasnow and Wheeler. It's nice to have that extra starting pitcher when you have an unknown in Wheeler and a perennial, gosh, if I can say perennial, hurt guy in Glasnow.
Yeah. One of my targets is gone. I figured Gabriel Moreno would be a good fit. He is gone, and that's okay.
Yeah, he would have been a good fit. I agree. Yep.
I've got a plan. Let's see if it's going to work out. I'm going to wait on the
There goes Miguel.
pitchers. Going to wait on the pitchers.
Torque. Brandon, as you're going through the drafts, are you finding a position that's like you're just really frustrated when you get to the end of the draft on how weak it is, and you're wishing you would have just gone earlier and grabbed a guy up on top?
I think shortstop.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really do think Swanson is the cliff, and there's maybe a couple guys, towards the latter end that I'm okay with being an emergency MI, but I'm okay having Swanson be my starting shortstop. Like I said, I actually have him on one or two teams where he is my starting shortstop.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I can write down his numbers and feel extremely comfortable as long as he stays healthy. That's what he's going to get me, something around 20, 80, and then, somewhere around 240, 250 batting average. And I feel like that's great at that pick, around 14 to get a 20 guy on a really good team. I just think that's great value. And, Xavier Edwards goes, and then Jacob Wilson back to back. And I'd way rather have Swanson over both of those guys. It's not close.
So in this case, Jacob Wilson is a nice batting average help there for you. And, I think that pairs well with the earlier picks. Yep.
I get the fit for sure.
The other thing is he's been working feverishly over the winter. I know they all have been, or most of them. Feverishly on the bat, on the increasing the bat speed. I think you're going to see. This is a guy that I think is personally the best bet to win the AL batting average crown. Even beat out Judge and some of the other guys, and he's going to hit low double-digit home runs. Maybe throw in a few steals, and he plays half his games in Sutter in Sacramento with these solid ace bats. So Jacob Wilson is one of my guys, you could say.
All right.
Oh,
do you think there's?
Right.
Oh, you're back on the clock. I'll ask you the question after you pick about Wilson.
All right, let's get a catcher because they really are drying out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what you should take right there. Perfect. Nice pick.
Thank you.
He's not a few catchers. That'll give you a couple steals too, a couple chip-in steals, some decent batting average. So you kind of went back to back with the batting average boosts.
Good hit. Good hit in a nice part of the order as well.
Mm-hmm. The question I was going to ask you, Vlad, do you think there's a chance Jacob Wilson leads off for the A's at any point?
Yeah, he can. He's got a little bit of a platoon split leaning one way, if I'm mistaken, against lefties. So I think you can get some work leading off. It's not like a massive walk rate guy, but it's definitely possible. It's a good lineup, right? I think it's another good year to get in on A's hitters. They're a good team to target.
Yeah, I agree. That ballpark is. I mean, I live an hour away from it. It's a bandbox. I mean, homers just fly out of that thing. I watched a lot of their games last year, and stuff that you thought was barely going to clear is getting out by 30, 40 feet, and you're just. Oh, okay, sure. And then you saw the ERAs of the pitchers, them complaining about the mound, specifically Severino. So it's not a comfortable place to pitch, and hitters definitely take advantage.
What is it there with the setup for in between innings, right? Something for like the home starters. It's like not with the rest of the team. It's like someone like some side place or whatever. Because he complained about it. I remember Severino. After he got blasted again at home, and he had one of the largest differentials I've seen in a couple of years between home and road. It was like a 5+ ERA at home and then like 3-ish on the road. It was a huge split.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. I haven't been to the stadium for a game yet. It's on my list of things to do, but since the stadium is so small, tickets were actually really expensive because they have a limited number of seats, and I don't feel like sitting in the outfield grass on a blanket. It's, not really my cup of tea. I'd rather be in a seat somewhere enjoying the game. So I can't speak to that since I haven't been yet.
Uncle Ted, I don't believe you. They do not have to pay for their own sodas. We finally had a comment that made the stream comments. That's the famous. He's in every podcast comment section. Got a lot of very interesting information. Uncle Ted, what's up, bud? Oh, you're good. Hope you're good. Moneyball joke, of course. I'm just not very bright.
Going back to the team 6 here, the construction, he started with 3 hitters, but then through 15, he ended up with 8 yellow, right? So 8 yellow, 7 bats through 15. So he it just shows you what you can do in these OCs, right? And you can end up with a really nice pitching staff. Starting 3-4 hitters in an OC, much harder to do in the 15, of course.
Yeah, it's got a couple unknowns with Imanaga and Imai, but Imanaga looks like he could be in line for a bounce back season with a velo bump, and Imai, just could be the great unknown. Guys haven't seen him, don't pick up his stuff early on, and he gets some traction, and he could have a great season.
Yeah, and he jumped Imanaga for sure. Where he took that's on the very early end of ADP on OCs.
John, where are you with the Kauffman Stadium adjustment? Does it change the way you are targeting hitters or pitchers, moving them back at all?
Yeah, I like I'm not making a huge adjustment on it. I find myself not taking many of their pitchers regardless, just historically, but hitters, I kind of move them up a little bit. We talked earlier about Michael Garcia, others as well. I like there. So I think that team's going to be a force. It's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited for them and their fans.
Are you not team? You're not on Team Reagan's. You don't believe in his ability to stay healthy.
I mean, it's another injury risk guy a little bit for me. But he's in that tier of those top guys for sure. I mean, I've taken him already, and I'll take him again, I'm sure. Massive strikeout potential, right? And I don't think the fence is moving. I'm not viewing it as a big negative for him. I mean, he's generally striking guys out and not giving up a lot of loud contact. But
all right, I'm coming up. I need a second baseman. I need a second catcher, corner, 2 outfields, and I got 2 pitcher spots open. In a lot of times in certain builds, I'm not afraid of just taking my first bench pitcher before filling my second base or my second catcher or whatnot. I feel like in the 12 team in the OC, it's maybe a little bit more balanced because I feel like there are always some pitchers that you can get late. The player pool's smaller, right? It's 360 players as opposed to 450 and 15.
That's right. There's lots of stats on the bench in a OC. I was just taking a look at 16-17 turn, really late for Ryan Walker to make it there, I think. So that's the guy. He took Team 1 took Hader at the 12-13. Maybe a little bit of risk there, but then he got his third reliever in Walker. So he's sitting, I would look at his barn of relievers of Mason Miller, Hader, and Ryan Walker and be feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, he might be a little light in starting pitching with only having 4 guys with that Hader pick.
Yeah, for sure. He started late on that. And would you have been better putting another starter there in place of Hader is what you're thinking, Brandon, right?
Yeah. Not that I loved anybody that went off the board later in that round.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at that too. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if he knew he was getting Ryan Walker at the end of 16, he doesn't make that Hader pick. But, we don't have that luxury.
No, that's
take what the room gives you.
Yep. Right on.
I was ready to take Ryan Walker, third closer. I would have absolutely done it there on the last one.
You said you needed second base. Were you looking at Bryson Stott over Jacob Wilson, or was it always Wilson?
Wilson's short. Yeah, Wilson's middle infield, or he's shortstop, and I already had my short.
I know. But you say you're still looking at second.
No, I usually don't take Stott just as the 60s WRC plus against lefty is like a full-time guy. So him, Luis Garcia Jr. I usually don't mess with those guys. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I think anything works for everyone. This is a tough spot. I'm interested in Jackson Holiday. I don't want to take on another stash with Wheeler. Hunter Green is still there. This seems like a good potential opportunity for him. There's an outfielder I could take a little bit early. No one stands out. Anything you guys like for me? This isn't a CLQ, so it can help me.
Yeah, the problem is I'm not looking at your draft room and I don't see exactly the players available.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little bit hard to see exactly who's there.
Yeah, same issue for me. Nothing's really popping up. I wouldn't go catcher 2. There's,
No.
5 guys that I would take later on.
Right.
I'm going to take.
I mean, Polanco's there as a 2B.
Yeah, I really wanted Holiday. I was between Holiday and Polanco, and I'll just let's see if he hits fourth for however long he can there. If he even starts the season as the 4 hitter for the Mets.
Yeah, I like Polanco. There's another second baseman I like later. In kind of in that same vein as Polanco, just as long as he stays on the field, he's going to give you good numbers.
You must be speaking of Brian Rocchio, right?
How'd you know?
Right,
I like that Ranger Suarez pick right after your Polanco pick. I think that's kind of a good floor play right there in round 17.
Yep.
The old foreplay pick. Oh, I'm sorry, floor play. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm up again. Okay.
You are up. Yep.
Kind of not ready.
Yeah, they're turning the corner fast on you.
Yeah. I was scrolled way down for that Rocchio joke.
Got to do it for the content.
Yeah. You know what? This is the place. Let's screw it. Let's just go for it. Here to entertain. Here to entertain. Let's take 2 stashes.
What pick is this, Vlad?
207.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I think he went somewhere around there to Dusty Wagner in the main, didn't he? Somewhere around pick 200.
Not sure.
I think so.
I was watching the latter half of that earlier today. Yeah, Dusty really loves risk. I think he took 9 pitchers who are either hurt or going to be hurt at some point during the season. That was pretty comical. So
I was trying to think of the right way to say that, Brandon, but you said it well.
to put it kindly.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Could come out great, right? You never know.
Yeah, probably won't. And the other pitchers there on the board, it just made a lot more sense to there are other pitchers that I could have taken there. And now I'm starting off with now a 5-player bench as opposed to 7. And now it also keeps me off the Garrett Cole market. So if I want Garrett Cole now, would not be a good idea to take him. So, but that's fine. There's no news yet. If I blow my 18th round pick on Hunter Green and he's out for the year, then so be it. I feel like, sitting here justifying the pick here right now.
So Vlad, with your FTN rankings, sorry, Brandon, with your rankings, are you able to, do you import that into your draft room, and then that's how they are arranged? Okay.
Yes, and I have the 2 different ones for NFBC that I maintain, the 15 and the 12. And usually I'm around so I can make the adjustments. I try to really, like when Jeremy Pena thing happened, I'm really thinking here. Sometimes I'll even run it by the crew, Mager, Thompson, Beery, Rico, those guys, and be like, hey, am I too crazy moving, Pena down 50 spots or whatever for this finger thing? It's because I don't have the Dr. Dave plan, right? Like if I had the access to ask Dave for this injury advice, then obviously I'd be in a lot better spot. But no, sorry, joking around. To answer your question is, 15 team and 12 team. Anyone who's an FTN subscriber can just upload those, download them, upload them into their NFBC. But last night I worked on updating the 12 teamers, so now they're fresh and ready to go for this. And I had Hunter Green, I think, still like 1 set 50s or something like that, but I figured I wasn't going to take him there.
So now we're getting through the end of 18. This is really the part of the draft where I think you can just a lot of the guys the rest of the way are going to be drops at some point through the season. I feel like this is where you kind of shoot for some upside guys even more here. That's always been my strategy anyway. And then that fab round, the round one fab is usually quite active for many of my teams, just because I do some OCs early, and you want to take some chances on some guys that have a position, might win the job in spring, pitching, etc. Those are spots. And if they don't, then you just cut them and pick up somebody else. Waiver wire will be plentiful week one. Good choices.
And there will be a fab period. So after this draft, like the Sunday, the 22nd or whatever it is. So you don't have to, the one thing I always advise people in this format, like you don't have to have a backup at every position. Like you can use a 28th round pick on a guy you think might go for a lot in fab that first or second week, and just have him on your team instead of having to chase him for $200+ and maybe a reliever you can play for that first period. Maybe there's a reliever you really like that has 4 games that week or 3, whatever. So you'll have the backups later, but I think for this week, because there was that one Feb period, there's a little bit of flexibility, and there's no cheat game this year, right? We don't have the Tokyo series like we had last year, or NFL. You have that Thursday night opener, so not the case this year.
There is one free look game. The Wednesday night game's a free look.
Oh,
and then Thursday you set your lineups. But so there
what's
is
that game?
I think it's San Fran.
I think it's Giants Yankees, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
For
it's
some
Giants.
reason that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think that's right. So that's a Wednesday night game, and then 15 games on Thursday. I think not everybody plays Thursday, but that gives you one free look anyway.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I still need a second catcher. I'm going to wait there. I need a corner infield, 2 outfielders, and obviously I need pitchers because I need to fill some slots early on.
Yeah, I think I'd be pounding some yellow here probably.
Yeah,
plenty
just
of corner infielders.
Talk about your Hunter Green pick. Just sorry to cut you off, Vlad, but
no, go ahead.
You're saying, hey, Hunter Green, he may be out for the year. You may drop the guy, but McClanahan, Flaherty, Musgrove. I mean, that's not a screaming track record of health, right? McClanahan hasn't pitched in 2 years. Musgrove 1.5 years. Flaherty was kind of terrible off a record year. The odds of those guys being drops are just as good as Green. Like John was saying, anything after round, 18, between round 18 and 20, most of these guys are getting dropped off your team regardless. So, take the upside shot. Hunter Green was going inside the top 50 overall. To get him at pick 200, the guy only misses a month. It's a great pick, So just take your shot. Big overall prize. You guys, John's won it before. Vlad's come real close. I mean, it's what it's all about, going for the overall. So,
Opening day starter, Andrew Abbott, pick there, and I am on the clock. Usually I'm not quite at that place where I'm looking at matchups, because I am sometimes interested in who's playing, who's facing who. Ryan Weathers is going around here. I'm not going to take him here. I know he just got blasted in his spring start. That's not really a reason for me one way or the other. If I like him, I like him. But there's a guy I really like. I'm just going to click on him, and it's if you could just curb the walks. Jack Leiter is a guy I like.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, good ballpark to pitch in. I think he got up to around 150 innings last year, so he's in line for another bump as long as he can hold up, to 170, 180. And like you said, if he can curb the walks, K rates above average, best ballpark in baseball to pitch in, pretty good offense, should be in line for 12 to 15 wins. It's
surprising how Texas turned into that, right? When it opened, it wasn't going to be that, and it even wasn't, I don't think, to start. But here comes 2 nice. I was wondering where these 2 guys were going to go. Weatherholt and McGonigal back to back, end of the 19th. Shane Smith.
All right, I'm back up. Murakami is a guy that's tempting for me. I don't have a corner infielder. I need some more outfielders. It is starting to get dry. I'm definitely going to be short on great outfielders. But that's kind of what I took on there, the risk. And then catcher is really starting to dwindle. I'm just going to take this guy because I'm looking at the board and I know someone else is going to grab another catcher. So I'm just going to take another drive line guy. Hockey.
All right. And that's about where you go to OCs, 20, 21, somewhere in there. So depending on where everybody else took catchers, but that's about right. Who else needs a second catcher yet? Going the other way? Looks like
so. Yeah, it might have been so there's I'm sorry, team 8 needs 2 catchers.
Yeah.
And then team 2 and team 6 need 1. And everyone else has 2.
Yeah.
So the risk there was I like Ohapi specifically, and I felt like if I didn't take him there, then I would be basically in the Carlos Narvaez Caro range, which I could work with, but I didn't want to necessarily go there.
Yep. Nice. I think your pick of Teal earlier, that was clutch to get him right there. It wouldn't be great to have Ohapi as your first start catcher in this, right? Against these other, just what you're going up against, these other teams are pretty stacked as well.
And when I was talking earlier, I think before Brandon was on, about how I have a plan for second catcher, that was basically him. So, and that was really the spot to get him. I think going like 255, 260, you probably would be gone already.
Yeah, I like his power upside quite a bit. As far as, kind of the later, bottom third of catchers that are going. He's flashed the power. He just needs a little bit of consistency. See if he can get that batting average up to 240, 245 instead of the 220 range, and then he's a great pick. Tons of value at that point in the draft.
I mean, half the staff are catchers or former catchers. The manager, Kurt Suzuki, they got Max Stassi, they got a couple other guys there.
A question for both of you guys: as you're doing these drafts, are you populating what your projected statistics are in terms of? Are you tracking it as you go to, or do you just have a good enough feel that I feel like I'm short on stolen bases, or I feel like my average is low? Are you? What do you guys do to track that as you're going through a draft?
I like to track, and I do. I would less do it in a 12. And the only reason I'm not doing it now is because we're streaming. So
Right.
I'm kind of just,
Right.
But you know how it is. We've been doing this long enough where I feel like it can go either way. Obviously in an auction, especially a live one, like I'm full focused and just plugging in. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. And I've done it years before where I've, used draft software or my Google Sheets or whatever. And then other times when I haven't, but I feel more focused when I do have it, but then I sometimes feel like I'm playing a spreadsheet game, right? As opposed to just sometimes picking the guys I want if I'm too focused on trying to hit certain projections. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I can fall a little victim to that. I do track them. I just have a Google Sheet up, and this is not a paid advertisement, but I do use the FTN projections for every one of my drafts and every one of my players that I do have on my team. I have the categorical goals at the bottom of my spreadsheet that I'm trying to hit. I usually do something around the 85th percentile because, with the volume I play, I am going for the overall, right, as well as trying to win my league. So I want to make sure that I'm either at or above. And you can never get there, right? You're never projected to get to the categorical points that you need at the end of the draft. But it just kind of gives me a barometer to see if I'm really off in one specific space. And usually I'm light in steals and I'm a little low in batting average. I do try to make an emphasis to focus on power throughout the draft from start to finish, because I think that's really, really hard to make up. I think you can make up steals. You can try to make up batting average a little. I just don't think you can make up power. So that's a big focus of mine. I track it for pitchers too, but the projections, ERA and whip projections for pitchers are so all over the place. I don't take it too seriously. Definitely with a grain of salt. More of the strikeouts.
Yeah.
Just stay on pace with strikeouts and saves.
Nice.
How about you, John? What do you do these days? I know you're good with spreadsheets.
Yeah, I do track it as I go. I just like confirmation that I'm on track or not on track, right? Just what we're talking about. And then if I end up short, then sometimes that'll affect who I take in the reserve rounds as well, right? I'll take a power upside guy or a stolen base guy, depending on which way I'm short on. But I think sometimes I do have a good feel as I go through the draft, but then sometimes you get to it and you go, man, I thought I was better than that on that category, right? And, so it's good to have it. I do track it that way.
All right, I'm
that
2
was-
picks away.
Yeah, that was one guy I was looking at for you was Beck. I thought that might have been a nice value if he had fallen to you for a little.
Who's
help.
that?
Jordan Beck,
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a nice fit for your team.
Yeah, the problem here is I do need a couple outfielders. I'm not loving these guys, right? Like, I guess at this point, you could take somebody like a Stanton. I'm not willing to take the Grisham, the 180 batting average or whatever it'll be this year. Not loving the outfielders here. I might even wait a little bit longer.
I don't mind the Grisham pick. I had him on a bunch of teams last year, and I mean, he's just going to lead off against every right-hander. And if you look at his StatCast, I know it's kind of an outlier season, but it was all pretty backed up and legit based on his contact rate, barrel rate. XBA was pretty decent. The guy is a walk machine, so they are going to keep leading him off because he's great at getting on base. But, I'm probably a little jaded from the success that he gave me last year.
It goes both ways, doesn't it?
It does. It most definitely does.
I want to see where this guy's, if there's still a chance. I'm just looking something up on ADP if there's a chance he might still be available in a bit. No, I don't think I want to mess with it. I feel like there's a big drop off on the corners here. And let's see if this makes John happy.
I know what you're doing. Yeah, Vaughn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
The most guy I would never ever draft touch, like my anti guy when he was with the White Sox, and team context had a lot to do with it. And we saw a lot of great things out of him last year, including a massive barrel rate, and he was hot and then cooled off after, not too long after. But I think he'll settle in, and if he's in fifth in that lineup amongst those guys, I think it's going to be an absolute great season.
Yeah, the potential's there. Sure.
Yeah, well, exactly, Brandon. What he showed in Milwaukee for the short time, it wasn't a real big sample, but it was big enough, I think. And I think he looks like a different hitter, right? Versus when he was in Chicago. And Milwaukee has got a little bit of a factory going there in terms of making improvements to players. So I like it.
Do you think there's any stickiness to the platoon aspect from September of last year, John?
Yeah, I think there's some concern. I agree, and I think that's built into where he's going here, because if there wasn't a concern, he would be a pick. He would go 2, 3, 4 rounds sooner. I think it's worth a shot here. They're always going to platoon some guys. They'll drive you crazy on that stuff, but.
I'm really not really loving the outfielders here, but I need a couple of more, and I don't want to get into the too dirty of a range. And then 3 pitchers I really like just went: Logan Henderson, Mike Burrows, and Ryan Nelson. So I'm looking at guys top of my board. There's Grayson, there's Roki that I'm sure you guys will talk me off of. Casey Mize, Cody Ponce, Merrill Kelly. There's Ramon Laureano, Colson Montgomery, Stanton, Grisham, Moniak, Friedel are the guys. Any leans?
For me, I would take one of the outfielders, in my opinion.
I'd be Grisham or Moniak.
And I'd put Laureano with that group as well.
Whoops. Well, I just autoed, and so
right.
There it is. That's fine.
Yeah.
Give somebody take some. All right.
I think you're okay with that.
I mean, he was great last year.
Yeah.
I mean, really solid production. Should be slotted in the middle of that lineup, and he's going to play every day.
He sat today for rest, or he was tired or something like
Soreness.
that.
Undisclosed soreness.
Sounds like a hockey injury.
the old lower body injury, right, in hockey.
Yeah. We're going through here pretty fast. You guys good to stick around till about round 25? A couple more times around, or we've got to head out? Okay, sounds good.
I'm all right with it. Yep. So roster-wise, most of these guys are filling out their roster round 22. It's just natural tendency to finish off your whole starting lineup, no matter how you think about it. It just seems like it goes that way. Most guys do it at the end of 23, and then you've got your 7 reserves. But if you were short of pitching earlier, I think this is a good time to not fill that middle infield or corner infield and just stack up some yellow and then fill that last spot on your active roster later. But let's see how they go about it here.
Is teammate still no catcher?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're just going to double tap around 29, 30 if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably.
Wait for everybody else to fill it in. Although I've seen multiple teams take 3 catchers, sometimes multiple teams taking 3 catchers in some of my drafts, and it's not the Ivan Herrera teams. So
I was just going to say Herrera team, right? Yeah.
There is a chance he ends up with 2 guys that are worse off than he was anticipating.
And that's 12-teamer OCs. You've seen
12-teamer OCs. Yeah. I was the Ivan Herrera team in my last draft, and 2 other teams took 3 catchers before I took my quote unquote third catcher, and I took him in round 30. It ended up being Narvaez. I wasn't unhappy, but I don't know why teams are drafting 3 catchers. Makes no sense.
All right. I'm going to pull up, while you guys do your thing, I'm going to pull up the MLB schedule. I just want to see some streamers for the first couple weeks. I don't remember them offhand.
Yeah, we're getting close enough to the beginning of the season now where you can get a pretty good idea of what the pitching schedule rotation is going to be, and you get a jump of on all those first week fab guys if you can pick a starter against a vulnerable team right off the bat. That might be a good choice here in the last rounds. So those other outfielders you were talking about, they all kind of went here. Grisham followed Laureano, Moniak, Friedel.
Yeah, I was considering Friedel, just first, leadoff guy. I've got Ellie there. I was considering it. I just didn't click fast enough.
That's good value on Simeon too. Around 22. I like it.
Yeah. Who was the other shortstop you were thinking of, Brandon, when he took when Vlad took second baseman when he took Kalanka? You were thinking about Simeon?
I was actually thinking about Glaber.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But Polanco, more power upside.
Yeah.
Glaber's, I know people say he's not really a 12-team play, but
yeah,
I'll take something like 15, 80, 80, and a 250 average.
Right.
On my starting lineup all day in a round 20, 21 pick. It's a guy you don't have to replace. He's pretty consistently healthy. The 25 homer season from a few years ago is clearly an aberration, but just a guy who shows up every day consistently and hits at the top of a decent Detroit lineup. Not a great ballpark, but a good lineup. And they should score some runs. So I like him. Yeah, Tyler Stevenson's my other late catcher target, Vlad, that I was thinking you might be on if you passed on Ohapi.
I like Stevenson. No issues with him.
Just hasn't been able to stay healthy the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's a good one. So here I come up. A couple of picks. Got some pitchers I'm looking at. And I think most of the pitchers here. I'll take a look at the hitters too in a sec.
Yeah, Mullins was going to be a guy I recommended to you for an outfielder 5.
Who was that?
Cedric Mullins. He's a guy I've been taking as a late outfielder, either 5 or 6.
And he was taken? Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, he just went a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he went. Yep.
What do the Yankees get early? Okay, they have that series of San Francisco. Then they're at Seattle. Go home to Miami. No 7-game weeks until week 4. All right, I am up.
You are on the clock.
I am on the clock. I don't think Merrill Kelly will be ready quite yet. I am a little bit concerned with Ober. And, let's take a stab here. I really don't have them anywhere. Probably, I'm going to go with Cody Ponce. I think he's going to line up for Colorado in the first full week.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the name I had in my head for you too. I like it.
And it sounds like, so your Savage is going to be kind of shorter 3-4 inning outings from what I heard early on, and then Scherzer is not going to join the rotation right away, right?
Yeah, Ponce should have a little bit of runway here, I think, to start the year.
All right.
There's another guy, Lopez. Nice.
Ronaldo Lopez. There's another I really like. I've always kind of had a soft spot for Grant Holmes. I know he hasn't been picked yet, but I think guy just walks too many people. It's very hard for me to click on Grant Holmes in general.
Yeah, his whip was not great last year.
No.
Speaking from experience. So
Exactly. It's funny how we track the players we own and have on multiple teams, and the ones that you don't have any, you've never drafted all year, and you get to the next year and you know, wow, that guy was that good. And
100%. Yeah. And it sticks with you too.
for sure.
Vlad's got 20 seconds here, deep in thought, looking maybe at an SP. Maybe an RP3.
Yeah, I think he needs to take a shot at an RP3 at some point in the next few rounds, I think, given that Jax is your 2.
Sorry, guys. Couldn't help myself.
Boy.
Yeah. When all else fails, go back to the middle.
Yes.
I mean, one of these years you're going to be right.
Yeah, it could be this one.
Yeah.
Guy's got insane talent. He's just got to figure out how to put it together.
Yes, I'm rarely speechless, but there I am, because I have so much Sasaki from earlier drafts, and I told myself I would hold back, but also not give in to everyone's panic, but also got to be realistic. But there I am with another share.
It's all right. You got to stay on brand.
So the thing about the staff is, because it leads off with Crochet, like it is. I mean, it does feel like, OC kind of like royalty, right? Like if somehow Hunter Green turns out to be fine, and right, like this, it's a pretty good pitching staff on paper.
Right on.
John's like,
I mean,
no, it's not.
if Wheeler misses a month and you get like a firm timeline of a month and he's ramping up essentially at the start of the season, and he's making his bullpens and his simulated starts and no setbacks. I mean, having 5 months of Wheeler, at pick, whatever that was, 111, that's great. I mean, the guy, his K/9 is through the roof. The team context is fantastic. And he's just a workhorse. He's a stud. So if he can throw and he's, back to his normal velocity, and we'll put normal in quotes, get him within a mile an hour of where he was before. And it's like Woodruff last year when he came back. Like he changed who he was as a pitcher because he knows how to pitch. He's not just up there trying to crank 98 and blow it by people. These guys are vets. They know what they're doing. They know how to pitch, and they know how to manufacture outs. And it could be a steal. I know Jason's on Wheeler quite a bit too. So must be something in the FTN sauce over there.
I mean, it's Zach Wheeler, right?
Yeah, I mean, the name value is, fantastic. The guy's got a tremendous career. Numbers to back it up every step of the way.
So at this point in the draft, I really need to be careful, because we're streaming it and all, and certain things I'll miss along the way. But I really have to be mindful of making sure I have 9 pitchers that I'm rolling out there, and I don't have to have 9 for that first 4-game period. But I also want to be careful, right? If I don't like somebody's start, or if, say, Roki is not in the rotation, all of a sudden, I can be in trouble. So I definitely want to be mindful of, like you said, John, an RP3, somebody that I can stream for that week, maybe a starter that might get a start in that beginning period. So I'm looking out for that now.
Yeah, and you have the opportunity to get those guys in rounds 25 through 30. I usually like to just pepper the board with yellow and see what percolates up to the top before the start of the season. And like you said, you got that fab period. You'll have all the information, and you just make a monster list of adds and drops because guys will get hurt, demoted, not be starting for that short period, that first, whatever, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And 12s is all about moves, right?
Yeah.
The draft is a big part of giving you a kickstart to having a great team, but then you got 6 months of working your ass off in the fab streets. So
love that
blend.
I love the part. I love the grind actually. So
Yeah.
Drafting is fun and cool, but I love when the season starts and you go to work on that part. Like I like a lot of these picks here, right? Like Mickey, these are good guys. If they in the rotation, they're going to be good. You're going to run with them for a few starts at least. Those are good chances to take here. If they don't make the rotation, unlike a 15-teamer, you're probably not even holding a guy like Mick Abel, I would say, right? So you're just dropping them, moving on, picking up an active guy. In your case, you got a couple dead spots, Vlad, so you're going to have to be a little bit more careful on some, but still you could take some chances on guys that you could drop.
All right, I'm coming up here. Let's see.
I think I'd be looking at like any potential closers left board yet. That'd be this is kind of a good spot to grab a couple of those, I think. Even if it's a 50-50 deal, you're probably playing in the first couple of weeks and that first weekend at least anyway, because you probably won't have 9 starters. Not many people will. You might walk into a win or a save that first weekend unexpectedly.
Yeah, Yates is who I was eyeing for that role, but
I agree.
He ended up going, Vlad couldn't pass on his Sasaki love, so Yates got taken later in the round.
He did, huh? Oh man, that was my target. Yeah. Oh man, that was the guy. I was just looking at his schedule.
Yeah, he's been falling quite a bit, and that. Speaking of jobs that are completely up in the air, John, that fits the bill for sure. He's got experience. I mean, he was on your Dodgers. You know the guy well.
With Robert Stevenson and Ben Joyce just not being ready and Drew Pomeranz being their top lefty and then Jordan Romano being Jordan Romano, just seems like it would be Yates. So I definitely kind of blew it in the last round. Yates is the guy I should have grabbed.
So I think you're back to the guy you mentioned earlier in Bailey Ober. I mean, I've been off the guy for a couple of years now, but it picked close to 300. If I can read the board right here,
his velo is really down. Was
it down again? Maybe not.
Yeah, and he says himself he's kind of struggling. He's like, "What? When I go out there, I don't know why it's not working." So I don't love that to hear that. So what do you guys think? Help me here. I'm either going to go with Taylor Rogers, closer, or Chad Patrick, who might line up to face the White Sox that first Sunday.
Oh, for me, I would take Chad Patrick for sure.
How do I know?
Yeah, I've been trying to take Chad Patrick on every team. So
really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to take him.
I have a P9 to play. Okay.
Yeah. And I like Rogers too. I've been taking him. It feels like he's just falling too far. That bullpen's pretty terrible, and he's got good experience. I feel like it's him, but I'd definitely take Patrick first for sure.
Yeah, I saw something like it was Topa or Sands or somebody gave up like 5 runs today in spring game to a bunch of no names. It's a very rough bullpen there.
They were both bad last year. I mean, they tried this last year, right? I feel like that's why they brought Rogers in, because they tried this experiment last year and nobody could get it done in the 9th. So you might get your wish and get both. We'll see.
You can get both. Yeah. Team 11's not listening to us. Yeah. See?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
Good. All right. Yeah, I'll take them. Not a lot of relievers at this range, and to mess with the Washington and Colorado guys, I'm just not having it. So yeah, I'll take Taylor Rogers. Now I have a very heavy bench or a bench of pitchers. So it's 4 bench pitchers, and I have 3 picks left.
That's okay. I usually come out of almost all of my OCs with 4 or 5 bench pitchers, 2 or 3 hitters.
I'm usually 5 and 2 on the bench to start the season on OCs anyway.
Yeah. I do think that's the ideal build because you are just trying to hit that one guy. I mean, you get one of your last 10 picks, to be a top 100 overall player. And that's just massive for a 12-teamer because everybody else can be replaced, and there's so much replacement value on the wire.
Team 8 must just be stuck on auto on third baseman here.
Yeah, I was going to ask how many third basemen / CIs can you play?
A couple of them guys have some
Dual
other
eligibility.
Yeah.
John, you missed it on the first stream, the Beat Jason League. Brandon was there. Brandon, what happened with there was someone on auto, and who all did he get? He got Profar and
it was Team 4 in Jason's league. I saw him time down in his very fit first pick in the first round, and he took Soto, but the clock ran all the way down. I was like, maybe he's deciding between a couple guys.
Right.
And then he had 3 first basemen in the first 5 rounds. And I mentioned something, and I was like, that's kind of strange. He's just filling up first base, corner, and utility. And someone in the chat chimed in. It was actually Red Fox Roto chimed in. He's like, auto. I mean, talk about the all dead team. I mean, he got Josh Hader, he got Hunter Green, he got Jerks and Profar. I mean, he just got everybody who's hurt or out or falling. So we'll see if he makes any fab moves. We got a few guys in that league who will report back to see if Team 4 emerges or if it just completely lights 350 on fire and doesn't care.
Yeah, no, we need to. That's a good one to stay in and find out which owner that is and join some more.
All right, we're going on the 2-hour mark here. Apologize, not gonna finish this out, but we will go one more time around for a couple of more picks. And listen, want to say what an incredible just source of just brain power that we've had here on this stream since Jason left. It's been great. Thank you guys.
You're funny.
Yeah, no, but seriously, John, to spend a couple hours with us on a Sunday afternoon, and Brandon, it's very, very much appreciated to get your wisdom on the stuff. You guys are 2 of the best fantasy players and 12 team specifically players around. So to have you on the stream and help me out has been very, very valuable. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's I wasn't expecting the 2-step in the same week on the FTN Beat Leagues, but happy to join. And I really do like talking baseball, especially 12-teamers, since that's almost exclusively what I play. I know John will flip into 15-team mode for the mains and a bunch of auctions out in Vegas, but I'm pretty much start to finish 12s.
Okay, I didn't know that you were so heavy, just 12s. So.
Yeah, I haven't quite gotten there in the 15s yet. I mean, I follow along Jason. We're talking baseball and fab and ads and drops all year long. And I got another buddy who does a bunch of 15-teamers. But I don't know. I've kind of found my success, stay in my lane. If and when I finally get out to Vegas, I will do at least 1 auction out there, if not 2. So I'll get in some 15-teamers when that happens.
Yeah, that's great. No, I respect folks that do that as well. Like Mark Winoker, for example, he's definitely an auction guy, right? So he wants to just do auctions now. I respect that.
Yeah, for me, it's just my brain only really has to look at one thing, and that's just 12-team targets, 12-team fab, 12-team roster construction. I don't have to tell you, it can be challenging going back and forth between 15s and 12s because the player pool is so wildly different.
It is so different. Yep.
All right, I got a couple picks coming up here. I'm definitely going to grab an outfielder. They are fairly dry, and I have to be careful taking more zeros because I really do like Jason Dominguez. I can't guarantee that Stanton or someone is going to get hurt and that Dominguez won't start in the minors, and he'd be my 3rd stash. So I don't think I can do that. But I have my eye on a guy that isn't considered specifically super fun or sexy, but I'm doubling down on him this season. He's an outfielder. He'll start on that Wednesday, first game of the season.
Oh, I know who you're taking.
Yeah.
And that'll be your 5th outfielder, Vlad, right? You still need
that'll be my 5th. This you got to give and take somewhere, and just an outfielder of Outfield of Springer, Luis Robert Jr., Marcy Laureano, and Jung-Hoo Lee does not feel great, but I feel great about, I think, the rest of the team.
Yeah, Lee's going to play. I mean, I know he was a guy you were on quite a bit. I think was it last year? Was that his first year? Yeah, and I was super excited to have him on the Giants. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan, and I was expecting something much different than what we got. I was definitely expecting more power, and even with the loss of power, his contact rate wasn't that good. So, hoping another year in the league, a full off season, kind of gets him where he needs to be, and should be at the top of that lineup. So, like you said, he's going to play the first week. He's locked in. Just bank the stats and see what happens.
Interesting schedule for the Braves. The first full week, they'll get the A's and Arizona. So that's some good pitching to take advantage of.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, I'll make this one pick here at pick 10, and then we'll sign off. But everybody, MLB 26 or Judge are promo codes you can use for 10% off. FTNFantasy.com. Very, very honored to be joined by John Pausma and Brandon Corked here on this NFBC live stream. It is getting late. I'm also on the clock in the 15-teamer. I got people messaging me, hey, you got to pick stuff to do. So
it can wait. It's fine.
Yeah, it can wait. It's a 4-hour clock. Anyone you love here? I got to pick.
Somebody in the chat just put Yaz. Don't hate it. Yastrzemski for the A's or for the Braves. Excuse me. I think that might be a nice backup pick for you for your outfield depth. So
funny enough, that's why I brought up the Brave schedule, because Yaz was a guy I was looking at. I just wasn't sure how many lefties they were going to face. First week, but whatever it is, it's late and I got 5 seconds. All right, there it is.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Thank you, everybody.
Right there.
Thank you for John Pausma, for Brandon, for Jason Anthony, for everybody here. Thank you very much, guys. Good luck in the rest of your drafts, and we'll see you next stream.
All right. Thanks, Vlad. See you, Brandon.
Thanks, Vlad. See you, John.
Good night, everybody.